Welcome to your Joyful Riches podcast, where you gain precious tips and tools on creating a beautiful, thriving life, even if you are facing challenges and adversities. This podcast is delivered alongside the International Childhood Cancer Charity, where we empower in addition to emotionally and physically healing one impoverished child at a time globally, one child at a time. And today we are so honored and so thrilled and so grateful to have Mark with us. You, Mark. Thank you so much for joining us this evening and this morning here in LA. And it's evening your time, so thank you for sharing your evening with us. Would you care sharing with us what is it that you do?
Hi, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to join you. I'm a hypnotherapist. I specialize in helping people overcome anxiety and trauma.
Thank you so much. So, hypnotherapy specializing in anxiety and trauma. Can anybody here relate to at least the anxiety? And a lot of people relate to the trauma as well. Anxiety and trauma. And what brings you to do what you do? Did you like grow up in school, as a boy, and you're like, hypnotherapy and for anxiety and trauma sounds like such a cool job, or is it your journey or something brings you to do what you do as becoming a hypnotherapist for anxiety and trauma?
Well, I became a hypnotherapist because I grew up with quite a dysfunctional family, although I didn't realize it at the time. But I had a lot of issues with anxiety, developed some toxic coping strategies, and I got into a number of dysfunctional relationships after a nasty divorce and a stalker or two. I decided that I needed to change, that things needed to change. So I began looking for things that could help me. I tried talk therapy. I didn't find traditional kind of talk therapy and counseling to be that helpful for me. So I started looking at hypnotherapy, and hypnotherapy and hypnosis was the therapy modality that I found to be most successful. And so I decided to study it and, help people with the use of hypnotherapy.
Oh, that's beautiful. So it's really your own experience to start with, where some people are they learn it's kind of like my dentist says some people become a dentist because they want to become a dentist, they think it's make money or whatever it is, and some people become a dentist because they need a lot of care about their teeth, and then they say, hey, if this and this and this help me, it's gonna help people, and usually this is what the dentist says, usually that's the best kind of dentist because they have their own experience, right? So you got into this based on your own experience, that to help yourself and to release the dysfunctionalness and the toxicity in your well-being. I would say you mentioned briefly that the traditional talk therapy and counseling did not help. And would you care sharing with our audience, firstly, how is hypnotherapy? Because I think for some people, so they kind of like thinking that hypnosis and counseling is quite similar. How is hypnotherapy differs than the traditional talk therapy and counseling? And perhaps if you have any idea, why is it hypnotherapy, at least in your and your clients' cases, help more than the traditional therapy?
Well, I think a big part of the issue that I didn't find talk therapy successful was because I didn't have any rapport with the counsellor. I didn't get on well with the counsellor. I think that was probably a big part of the issue that I experienced there. But hypnosis and hypnotherapy has been shown to be more successful than standard talk therapy in a number of studies. One study I saw, I've seen referenced online in hypnotherapy groups, etc. I'm not sure that I pay that much attention to it or would give it that much credit, but they say that in 3 sessions of hypnotherapy, they can achieve, or the same results can be achieved as would take kind of 30 years of traditional talk therapy and counseling. As I said, I don't know if that's true, but certainly with hypnotherapy, the results can be a lot quicker. Another benefit of hypnotherapy is that you don't need to relive the traumatic event to overcome it. With standard talk therapy, if you keep talking about the traumatic event, you're kind of keeping it alive. And yeah, wiring those neural pathways, making the memories stronger. With hypnotherapy, you don't need to relive the trauma. So that's another benefit of hypnotherapy, especially to help people with CPTSD and PTSD.
Wow, that is really awesome. So the first thing is it takes, and I have heard about this many times with my colleagues and friends, that hypnotherapists, many people, a lot of hypnotherapists say, all you need to do is maybe not one session, or it help in one session, but a lot of time you only need like 3 to 5 sessions, sometimes not even 5 sessions, and so that's what you're saying. It definitely doesn't take a year of hypnotherapy, and so
yeah, it depends on the client, but the majority of clients get the results they want within 3 to 6 sessions.
that is definitely much faster, and depend on your healthcare system, a lot more economical.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
And not only that, sometimes we only think about in terms of people's, the money and thing, but also the time and the hustle of having to keep doing this and over and over and over. And then I love the second part that is really, I think that is just so awesome, that you do not have to relieve, to kind of like keep talking about the trauma. And that is just so important, because as you said, it can be traumatizing for people to have to talk about it and revisit and then try to understand it. And as a grief specialist, strangely enough, I have counselors themselves who says, counselors who become my client as a grief specialist, and they're like, I get to understand very well the behavior, their behavior, my behavior. I understand very well, but in form of grief, my heart still hurts. And I imagine that's probably the same with you, that, they understand what is going on. We understand it up here, why this happened, but it's still causing anxiety. It's still causing the trauma. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly, talking about things can allow a person to process them and process the trauma. But yeah, hypnotherapy, as I said, it can allow people to overcome those issues a lot quicker.
That is wonderful, and you don't have to keep traumatizing yourself in that scenario. That is something that is just so beautiful, because some of us also concerned about having to talk about things if it's super traumatizing in that aspect. And so go ahead.
Yeah, that was one of the things. Another one of the things that drew me to hypnotherapy, and why I found it more successful than talk therapy or counselling, I think, because I didn't want to talk about everything. And with hypnosis, I didn't have to do that. So that was another reason why I found it more useful. Also, going back to traumatic memories, a memory changes depending on the emotional state you're in when you recollect it. So if you're upset and worked up, it's going to make that memory more traumatic, more upsetting. Whereas hypnosis can involve deep levels of relaxation, which can allow the person to, if they wish to recall memories, to recall them in a more relaxed state.
Oh wow, that's interesting. I let me just understand that what you say. So our memory, our recollection of certain things is influenced by our emotional state currently.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So angry or you scared about recalling something that was traumatizing, but then in the therapy you got to recall them, to talk about them and process them. But if you're already scared, or you already, that memory now that happened now make you angry, your recollections will be influenced by your current memory.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
And every time you recall a memory, you change it. So your recollection of what happened may be, a lot different to what actually happened, depending on how many times you've recalled it and spoken about it.
And so kind of like it's possible every time you sit there and recall it, you re-traumatize yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is not a good thing to happen.
No.
Well, I know a lot of thing with I know very well about hypnotherapists, but one thing that I know many hypnotherapists says is you help people to go into a relaxed state to start with.
Yes.
And from relaxed state, you say if you choose to recall the memory, then you'll be able to be more neutral and to address it in a more neutral manner, instead of you're already kind of like scared or anxious or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Oh wow,
yes.
And I can see just from that alone the power of the benefit, the advantage, I would say, from the hypnotherapy when it's something traumatizing is like that. That is so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. And so with people who are experiencing things, so let's say whether somebody is experiencing cancer, or a family member having a cancer, or someone else's who, or a different type of adversity, and they are experiencing anxiety, and they feel or they feel traumatized by the whole experience. But let's say they are experiencing anxiety. And what is one or two tips that you might be able to share with our listener, with our audience, in being able to navigate anxiety before they, let's say, able to make it to a hypnotherapist, or if they cannot make it to a hypnotherapist for whatever reason?
The most powerful thing that I think I heard, which really helped me to start to overcome anxiety, is what resists not only persists, but becomes stronger. So the more you try and fight against the feeling, tell yourself, you know, this is a bad feeling, I don't want to be feeling this, and try and suppress and fight it, the more focus and energy you're giving that feeling, the stronger it's going to become. So with clients and on workshops, I encourage people to separate themselves from their thoughts and feelings, to see that they're not their thoughts and their feelings. And thoughts and feelings and emotions are there to serve a purpose. They're like warning lights on a dashboard to, you know, when you're driving along, if the fuel light comes on, you know you need to get fuel. It's the same with feelings and emotions. They're there to serve you, to let you know that something's wrong. So not trying to fight them, not trying to suppress them. When I realized that and started practicing that, negative thoughts and negative feelings started to become a thing of the past for me. People can do that via having a regular mindfulness practice, meditation, or just doing something that they find relaxing. Again, when someone experiences trauma, the emotional part of their brain grows in size and the thinking part of their brain decreases in size, making them more prone to emotional dysregulation. So having a regular relaxation practice is going to allow the person to become more emotionally regulated, to have more considered reactions and not be triggered into a fight or flight response, to become more aware of their triggers. And yeah, oh, and don't try and avoid things that trigger you. If you try and avoid being triggered, you're going to develop, you know, more anxiety about facing the triggers, and it's going to snowball from there. So don't try and fight against it. Don't try and avoid negative feelings.
Oh, wow, those are really powerful, really powerful tips. But I want to point out one thing here, that if in case our audience didn't catch that, for sometimes there's noise outside as we're listening, right? Which is what you said just now, Mark. That is so powerful, and then many people might not realize that. So when you have trauma and things, the benefits, sometimes we kind of like, all right, you know, mindfulness practice, relaxation, everybody's saying that seemingly. You look any single directions on social media, and every life coach say that, you're like, yeah, whatever. But what you say, that it influenced the part of our brain that the more, when you're more relaxed and you're routinely more relaxed, then that part of your brain grow bigger. Versus if you continue to focus on the trauma and you traumatize and then traumatize, then that part of your brains will become more dominant. And then it's, I think Dr. Joe Dispenza or something that say that what wires together, fires together. So if this part of your trauma brain keep going and bigger, you keep traumatizing, and this is horrible, that's horrible, then you just like keep getting bigger, and then the slightest thing will let that one fire. Versus the calm part. And if you practice mindfulness and ease and joy on a daily basis, one thing I was thinking this morning, this is really funny that you say that. I'm very grateful for my cat. The way I feed my cat, this is morning time here, the way I feed my cat is it's in full play. So I'm semi-forced, so to say, to start my day with play and joy and laughter. Please sing.
Excellent.
And then it's like it started my day, and then allow that part of my brain, apparently, according to you and the studies to grow and focus on the joy and laughter and ease, right? So that is something that I want to point out for our audience. Your daily routine, what you're focusing on, allow your brain to actually, that part of your brain in that process that to grow bigger. And then you allow it easier for you to, sounds like, to be in a state of where you can be relaxed, where you can be at ease. And I love what you say is there to not to not avoid, because that sounds very, sometimes people want to avoid things that traumatize them, but not to avoid that, and as well as not to be scared of your feeling, kind of. So what you're saying is you the feelings are like fuel light, like you said, and it's to let you know what's going on in you, and you acknowledge it, but not resist it or scared of it.
Absolutely. So yeah, in the case of that anxiety, ask yourself, why am I feeling this right now? Is there any immediate danger? Is there anything I need to address? If there isn't, then just allow the feeling to be and carry on with whatever it is that you need to be doing. And the more you do that, the less troubled you will be by those negative emotions. And a regular gratitude practice and a regular relaxation practice, as you said, they're very powerful. And yeah, just doing that, you'll save yourself loads of money on therapy.
That is awesome. That is beautiful. That is really great. And so, is there, you mentioned about relaxation and mindfulness. Is there certain particular type of relaxation practice or something, mindfulness practice, that you and your clients find more useful than other?
That's a good question. Obviously, I find hypnosis to be very relaxing. There can be different styles of, what we call inductions. There can be many different ways that you get into a state of hypnosis. Hypnosis itself isn't necessarily relaxing. It's how it's done that makes it relaxing. Hypnosis is a focused state of attention. So if you've ever driven somewhere, got into your destination and not remembered the journey, that would be an example of hypnosis. Watching TV, you zone out, lose track of time. That's also an example of hypnosis. But as I say, it doesn't have to be relaxing. Many people, when they play sports, they'll notice a small injury, a nick or a cut, after they finish playing, and they'll look down and, they'll see that they're bleeding or injured in some way. But they didn't notice that when they were actually playing because they were focused on what they were doing. So it doesn't have to be relaxing. Other things I like to do to relax, I like to go for walks in nature. Walk by water is very relaxing. Mindfulness, meditation, Vipassana style meditation, I like to do that as well. And again, that is good for learning acceptance, learning not to fight against thoughts and emotions and to see them as separate from yourself.
That is awesome to be able to separate it from yourself. But I also love what you say just now, that hypnosis really is just focus of attention. Sometimes we don't know about hypnosis, and we have this this ridiculous idea of the stage hypnosis where they use a freaking pendulum and make you cluck like a chicken. But it sounds like it's really when you're watching TV or watching a movie and you get lost and you're like, holy cow, I've been sitting in front of the TV for 3 hours and forgot everything else. You are allowing yourself to be hypnotized by the TV or the movie, right? And so that is very interesting. Hypnosis really is just a focus of attention. So it's not something super scary or something for some people sounds a little bit too esoteric or something like that. And is it possible for people to self-hypnotize themselves?
Absolutely, yes. You can hypnotize yourself. You can do do a body scan meditation, scanning around your body, relaxing your forehead, relaxing your eyelids, relaxing your cheeks and jaw. That's one way you can take yourself into a state of trance. And then once you're in that state of trance, you can visualize yourself the way you want to be. And again, your mind can't tell the difference between a real or an imagined event. So by visualizing yourself the way you want to be, you actually create new neural pathways in your brain. You can also listen to hypnosis recordings. I have several hypnosis recordings on my YouTube channel and on my podcast. So you can listen to hypnosis recordings. Plenty of free recordings available online.
Oh, that is wonderful. So you can actually kind of do a body scan and you said, okay, lower my forehead to, let's say you're anxious. And you, as you said, you ask, is there a danger here that caused me to be anxious? But if there is no danger whatsoever and you're just anxious, you say, okay, so notice my forehead and allow it to relax, and then my face, my neck to relax, and then visualize yourself to relax. But you also mentions podcast and YouTube. Would you care to share with our audience about this and how people might be able to connect with you to learn more about hypnosis and perhaps how you might be able to help them with you said free recording or your work?
Yep, I have a podcast called Anxiety Hypnotherapist, which is on Spotify and all the major podcast platforms. I also have a YouTube channel, which is just my name, Mark Stubbles. I have a Facebook group called Inner Child Healing, Breaking Free from CPTSD. So people can find lots of content from me in those places. My website address is anxietyhypnotherapist.org. And you can also find those social media links on my website.
And can people make appointment with you on your website or something? How do people connect with you?
Yeah, people can just go to my website and they can, on my website, I have a scheduling software. People can just book a time and they will be emailed a Zoom link, does it all automatically. So it's very quick, saves going backwards and forwards, trying to arrange times to speak to me. They can just see it there and book it.
That is wonderful. So plenty of resource to learn more. If you've been listening to these conversations, Mark is a wealth of information and useful practical tips. So thank you for sharing your time with us with all this amazingness. So plenty of resource. Check out his YouTube. Check out his podcast. Check out his Facebook group and his website. A lot of information that in this day and age where we have so many things going on in life, it's very easy to feel anxious and to become traumatized by even just word event and everything. So check out Mark information, and this is all available for you for free, and also to share this with your friends and family. And as we complete our conversations today, Mark, is there one final message you have for our audience?
Well, it's been great to talk to you. I think the final message, the biggest takeaway that I can give people would be to remember, what I said about what resists persists, and not to try and resist thoughts and feelings that they don't want to have.
That is awesome. What you resist not only persists, it gets stronger. So acknowledge that, but don't resist it. Separate yourself from it. And if you need some help, Mark will be more than happy to chat with you. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you so much for your beautiful advice and share of wealth of your knowledge. And for thank you, very, very grateful for you. And for you, my friend, please share these conversations with your friends and family, because as we know, we're all living in such a world, and the tips here are something that we all can benefit. And surely they love all your tips there. And so share this podcast with your friends and family so we all can thrive together. And also share one or two gold nuggets that you gain from Mark so we can continue learning from each other. And this is Dr. BirgitteTan with the International Childhood Cancer Charity and your grief specialist. I thank you very much for joining us today, and I look forward to see you again